Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we are going to cover everything you need to know about the Illuvium game before it comes out. So first and foremost, there are three major aspects to the Illuvium game that will be coming out sometime in 2022, hopefully, but potentially some of this will come out in 2023. And that is the Overworld, Auto Battler, and Illuvium Zero. Now I'm going to step through them one at a time, but they do all link together eventually. So definitely stay tuned to the end. You're going to want to know everything in here to make sure you're up to date with Illuvium. This will be the fastest way you find out all of the information quickly. So definitely stay tuned. So there are 7 regions in Illuvium, 8 if you include a region called Sanctum Mesa, which is actually the hub and will be multiplayer in the future, but it will not be multiplayer on launch. So Sanctum Mesa is going to be where you go to do all your activities. You're going to buy all your resources, so on and so forth, and that is where it's going to stay. It looks really, really awesome. Only 3 of these regions will be playable to begin with. They are the Crimson Wastes, Brightland Steppes, and Abyssal Basin. Now, the other 4 are the Halcyon Sea, Crystal Shores, Shardbluff Labyrinth, and Tiger Boreal. And personally, I really love the Crimson Wastes, Shardbluff Labyrinth, and Tiger Boreal. They're going to have some killer alluvials. I'm keen to get my hand on them. The game will begin with 150 alluvials. Now, not all of these will be out on launch, but all of them will effectively be designed beforehand and be ready to come out. But I believe they're going to roll them out with the overworld regions as they come out as well. So new sets will also be created over time, much like Pokemon. It will start out with 150 alluvials, but they'll keep adding them over time. I'm hoping for a new set every year. This won't be 150 again, obviously, but there will be lots more alluvials to come out in the future. And as these new sets come out, the older sets will also become obsolete and you will not be able to find or capture them anymore in the Illuvium overworld area. Each alluvial also follows something called a bonding curve, which means based on demand and the amount of alluvials that have been captured already, they will decline in supply and they'll be harder to capture, harder to find, and so on. But they will never be too difficult to find or anything like that. This will be a balancing act, but it will work just fine. But just know that the earlier players will have a little bit of an easier time finding and capturing these alluvials, especially the particularly rare ones. As new sets are created, then the older sets will be made obsolete and they will become really scarce because of some of the other mechanics I'm about to explain to you. Make sure to explore the overworld to find and capture unique alluvials. This is the only way to obtain alluvial NFTs without using the secondary marketplace. For those of you that want to play for free, you can capture T0 alluvials, which can be stored as NFTs. You can get them all for free. You won't need to pay any money to get some of the higher tier ones. Everything will be in there. And the T0 alluvials are really awesome. There are actually 75 of them in total, 5 different kinds with 5 different classes and 3 stages as they can evolve, much like a Pokemon evolutionary system, except in my understanding that probably about 90% of the alluvials, if not all of them, actually evolve. So definitely go get your hands on those stage ones and evolve them up. How do you evolve them? Essentially, all you do is you get 3 of the same alluvial. For example, let's take Atlas, and then you will combine the 3 and you will get an Axon, combine 3 Axons and you will get an Axodon. You have a chance of finding Holo in the wild and getting even a Dark Holo. And we haven't seen anything from that yet, but it's going to be really, really epic. So I'm very excited to see that play out. Other thing you can do in the overworld is you can find and harvest resources. What you can do with them is you can use them to craft medicine to heal your alluvials, craft things to help you travel to different places, craft shards, which will allow you to capture the alluvials in the overworld. So that's how you're going to capture them. You're going to battle them in an auto battler scenario out in the overworld. And then once you finish that battle, you will have the chance to capture some of the alluvials. Obviously, the rarer they are, the harder they will be to capture. One thing we should note is that your shards will not actually be destroyed if you fail. You will lose some time and you will lose some money on the traveling, unless you're playing free to play, which is perfectly fine as well. The other thing you can craft is actually equipment, because your character actually uses guns, swords, and shields and things to help fight in the auto battler scenario. And there's a lot of cool mechanics about that, but all you need to know is that you can craft those weapons and use them to help you beat those battles. This will all be moved to a Monster Hunter style gameplay where you're going out and you're fighting the alluvials in more of an action-packed style game, and then you can capture them. So I'm very excited for that as well, but that will not be for the initial launch. They'll be using the Auto Battler. The Auto Battler game mode has actually quite a few game modes within it. It has the Ascendant Arena, Leviathan Arena, and the survival mode. In these 3 modes, you will take on a variety of different game modes and styles of gameplay for the auto battler to compete against different opponents or even AI controlled enemies. Now before that, we need to cover off the alluvials and kind of how they interact with these systems. So firstly, there are 5 tiers of alluvials. They typically depict rarity, but they also depict strength in some ways as well. However, you can't just go and get all the rarest alluvials and chuck them in your deck and on your board. They will have a mastery points cost. For example, if you're allotted 120 mastery points and a Ramfire costs 100, you can realistically only place one of them on the board at any given time. A variety of smaller alluvials with lower mastery point cost will trounce you, let's put it that way. There is definitely a big balancing act to using stage 1 and stage 3 alluvials and anything in between when you want to build your deck out and have a variety of different roles in place as well. So there are 5 different affinities and 5 different classes for each different alluvial. They can also contain composites. I won't cover them all in this video. If you want to see a video about composites, leave a comment down below. The 5 different affinities are water, fire, earth, air, and nature, and the classes are bulwark, fighter, rogue, empath, and scion. These give you a range of different possibilities, ranging from great at healing, great at providing shields, to doing a hell of a lot of damage, especially when paired with a lot of similar alluvials of that kind. For example, the scion alluvials do more magic damage, and when a lot of scions are paired together, they get a big boost to magic damage through synergies. This works similar in other auto battler games. The alluvials will also inhabit different regions, so you will not want to travel just to Crimson Wastes every single time you're going out to capture alluvials, because you might mostly get fire alluvials. And although they're great, if you match up against an opposing synergy, such as water, which actually gets an advantage against fire alluvials with the hyper mechanic, then you will surely lose. The hyper mechanic actually gives you a boost if you're an opposing synergy. The example of water beats fire and earth also beats fire, and fire beats nature. You will have these advantages and you will get these special powers and abilities that will enhance your classes. So the game can seem quite complex, but once you get into it, it can really be easy to play and easy to learn, but obviously difficult to master, which will make it perfect as an esports candidate. The 3 modes that we touched on before were Leviathan Arena, Ascendant, and Survival mode. In the Leviathan Arena, you can wage Ethereum on battles and then basically winner takes all. All of the alluvials levels and stats are maintained for a truly grueling pay-to-win experience, which is fine for some of those that enjoy that. But essentially every alluvial you capture in the overworld will have a set amount of stats that they are born with. Now, these cannot be changed or redefined or anything like that, and you'll need to capture another one if you want one with better stats. In this sense, those with better stats will probably perform better in something like the Leviathan Arena. When you enter the Ascendant Arena, everything becomes completely balanced. Everyone's stats are neutralized and balanced out, and the best part is that you can use a stage 1 alluvial as a stage 3. For example, you can use a Ramfy as a Ramfire for the course of these ranked matches. This is so that you can't just spend a whole lot of money to capture the best possible alluvials, and everyone will have a much more even playing field and skill will truly dominate. In survival mode, no balancing is done, and you fight against waves of enemies each day. These waves are AI controlled. Performing well and coming on top of the leaderboards can also earn yield in the form of ILV. The last component of the Illuvium metaverse is the Illuvium Zero game. Now this will be on mobile and desktop, and essentially what it will be is a city builder game that you can play on the go, which is really great and I'm very excited for. And essentially you will provide fuel to those to be used in the overworld game. Now, I will explain that in a minute, but let's go over Illuvium Zero and what else it can offer. Firstly, the 7 regions also apply here, and they will all look really different depending on which land NFT you own. This largely dictates the type of alluvials you can research for acquiring blueprints. Blueprints are essentially a recipe that will allow you to produce a skin, like an armor skin or something for like a Ramfire, and you will need to use different crafting resources and potentially Ramfire NFTs as well and burn them all to create these skin items. But with the blueprint, it allows you to do that, and the only way to acquire these blueprints is by owning a plot of land. The goal here is to generate fuel and elements. There are 3 element and 3 fuel types. The element types are hydrogen, carbon, and silicon, and the fuel types are krypton, hyperion, and solon. The elements are used to power your city and develop it up, and will also help you slowly passively generate extra fuel resources to help you develop your city even further. Fuel, however, is the main resource of the game, and it can be sold to the players of the overworld game. You can take your fuel resources, and if you don't need them, you can sell them and get Ethereum in return. The returns for this we aren't too sure of, and stay tuned for another video where I'll go more in depth on that. The other side of this is something called mega cities. Now, this is a work in progress and won't come out with the base launch of the game, whether it be alpha or with the overworld, but it will essentially allow your different land plots that are connected to each other in a 2x2 or 3x3 structure to contribute to one another. For example, all your storages will have a combined total, and all your resource buildings will pool into the one setup. So this will allow you to use your larger plots and your faster producing plots to help build up your smaller plots as well. So the Illuvium metaverse does not stop there, however, and they were going to expand way beyond into the future. Firstly, mobile launch is a priority. They will be doing capital raises and other incentives for the community to help them get involved in raising money for the mobile game. They're hoping this won't take longer than 6 months, but I think we can expect it to take considerably longer considering the detail and depth of the Illuvium metaverse, especially as they release those other regions. The other thing is the future games for Illuvium. Likely games that are to come next is a highly debated topic, but I believe MOBA is probably going to be on the cards. League of Legends is obviously a highly popular game and a highly popular genre, and it's going to make it very accessible for people with computers to come in and play Illuvium MOBA and then delve further into the other aspects of Illuvium. The other side of things is RTS strategy games. These are quite popular among the Illuvium team, and I'd expect it to make a debut at some point, although it's a bit of a fading genre, so we don't know how well it's going to perform. The last metaverse project that is definitely on the radar is a first-person shooter. Obviously, it's very low barrier to access and it's fun and action-packed for a wide variety of audiences. I hope you join me with this journey through the metaverse. Illuvium is my favorite project so far in the entirety of crypto, and I'm very excited to see where it heads to in the future. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful and it helped explain a lot about the Illuvium game and everything it has to offer. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. If I missed anything, definitely leave a comment down below. Maybe I'll make a follow-up. Have a good day.